Good morning, Mr. Tremberth. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes.
Hi, good morning. Miss Andrews is here. Do you need a breakout room with her?
No, actually, we had filed a stipulated dismissal via e-file on Friday. However, talking to the clerk yesterday, you guys hadn't received it.
Oh,
So
okay.
so we just need to tell the judge that, there's a stip dismissal that we just
Okay,
have to have filed here.
got it. Okay, I'll let her know. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Good morning, Mr. Barda.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fine. How are you this morning?
I'm great, thank you.
Sir, do you need a breakout room with Mr. Weatherholt? He's here.
I don't believe so.
Okay, all right, the judge is on her way out.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know what Mr. Trimber has stuck on his file cabinet, but I will not abide such a horrendous display in the background. Good grief. That's how we're starting our Tuesdays.
I take it we got a Michigan fan?
Michigan alum. I won't
Oh,
call
okay.
myself a
My-
fan. I think that's taking it too far.
My apologies.
Some of my best friends went to state, so. This is 2401850 TD Bank USA versus Leslie Andrews. May I have your appearances, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Timothy Tremberth on behalf of the plaintiff, TD Bank, P79117.
Would you unmute yourself and state your name for me, please, ma'am?
Yes, Leslie Andrews.
Thank you. Today was the day and time scheduled for the first pretrial in this matter. How are we proceeding this morning?
Your Honor, the defendant has paid and we have agreed to stipulate to dismissal. Yesterday, I spoke with the clerk of the court and they had not received our filing which was made last Friday. But we will try to re-enter that dismissal and file again. And I want to apologize to Ms. Andrews for having to, come to this new court date. I was hoping to get it off the docket.
Ms. Andrews, was that your understanding that a stipulation to dismiss would be
Yes.
filed?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sir, the clerk for the civil department, Dan, is on this Zoom. He will check. I will sign it once it's located. If you filed it through OnBase, it might just take a day or two to get to me, but I'll make notes that it's coming. I'll sign it and copies will be mailed to the parties at the addresses we have on record. Is there anything else, Ms. Andrews?
No, ma'am, nothing else.
Anything else for TD Bank?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you both. You have a wonderful day. Good to see you.
Thank you. You too, Your Honor.
This is 2401963 GC. This is Spring Oaks Capital versus Thomas Weatherholt. Mr. Weatherholt, I need you to take your cap off for me and then I'll have you state your name for the record.
Thomas Weatherholt.
Your appearance, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. Cezanne Barda, P65425 on behalf of the plaintiff.
Thank you. Today is the day and time scheduled for pretrial in this matter. Have the parties had the opportunity to speak?
Your Honor, we have not, but Mr. Weatherholt's answer is stating that there was a credited payment and he actually shows proof of that credit. So at this time, we're just requesting maybe either a 60-day discovery order and or just adjourn the pretrial 30 days just to allow me to go back to my client to let them take a look at this. I have a feeling this is going to resolve.
Thank you. Is that your understanding, Mr. Weatherholt?
Yes,
Mr. Barter, there's two things. We received from Mr. Weatherholt this morning a letter from Aspen Dental that discusses the payment from Consora Credit with a refund. And if that's not scanned in and served upon you, we'll make sure that a copy gets to you. I know there were some other documents that Mr. Weatherholt attached to his answer. But that being the case, what we will do is, let's say 30 days of written discovery. That means, Mr. Weatherholt, if there's something you want from the plaintiff's office, you need to send the request to them in writing. 30 days written only, and we'll put you over to our next civil date, which is August the 6th. Let's say again at 9 o'clock. Mr. Weatherholt, it will be by Zoom. If you wish to appear in person again, as you did today, that's fine. But the notice will say by Zoom, okay?
okay, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Barta?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Anything else, Mr. Weatherholt?
No,
Then, Mr. Weatherholt, you're free to go. You can just exit out of that room through the door on your left, and the court staff will reset that computer.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your
Have a
Honor.
good day, sir. Thank you. To the gentleman with the gray and white shirt, your name, please.
Judge, he's been on a few times this morning and I have been unable to get him to connect.
I think that's Mr. Blaga.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
Good.
They need a translator. Romania, please.
Romanian translator. I know there was one here before.
Yeah, translate Romania, please.
Marianne, was there a Romanian translator requested for this hearing?
Not to my knowledge.
Mr. Blaga, the last time do you not understand English or don't understand it well?
I understand a little bit English.
Did you arrange the interpreter the last time?
Yeah, Romania last time. Yeah.
Okay, the court did not arrange that. This is 2302466 GC Accidental Development versus Dorel Blaga. May I have your appearances for the record?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Doreen Hoffman, P 42231 on behalf of the plaintiff.
State your name, sir.
My name? Dorel
Yes.
Blaga. Dorel
Thank you.
Blaga.
The last time that we were here, there was an interpreter that Mr. Blaga must have secured because the court did not. So there was not an interpreter for this time. I don't know if it would be helpful at all, Ms. Hoffman, to speak to him in a breakout room. Sir, I don't know how much of a conversation you're able to have without an interpreter present. You have to let me know.
So there's no interpretation,
Blaga.
no interpreter today.
Your Honor, I don't know that it'll be helpful to go into a breakout room. Looking at the notes from the pretrial that was held last time, we did file discovery. We have not received answers. So I think what we're just going to do is file for a motion for summary disposition.
Well, what we'll do, Ms. Hoffman, I hear that and I'll note the file, but we'll adjourn this matter over to August the 6th at 9:15. And we have to order an interpreter.
Should we file the motion for summary for the same date? Because then that way you'd have an interpreter there.
We will.
Yeah.
We will schedule for that same day if you can get that motion filed here in the next few days.
Okay.
Sir, if you receive something from the plaintiff's office, you need to review it and respond to it. We'll have an interpreter here for the August 6th hearing, okay? Mr. Blaga.
Yeah, I understand. August 6th,
Okay.
9:15 a.m.,
At
right?
9:15. Yes, sir. We
Thank
will
you
see
so
you
much.
back then.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Dixit, we haven't seen Ms. Hall as of yet. The case is scheduled at 9:30. If she's not here by about 9:45, I'll call the case.
Sure. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Mr. Truba, we're waiting for Mr. Kennedy's attorney. Once he's here, we will get you connected and moved into a breakout room.
Okay, Your Honor, thank you.
You're welcome. Mary Ann, why don't you make him co-host so he is able to move himself around?
Your Honor, I won't be here that long, hopefully, but thank you.
Yeah. Famous last words from attorneys. Won't be here that long.
So I spoke with Mohammed. So I have a name and I left a message. Keeping my fingers crossed.
Look at you trying to be prepared on the 3rd of July. Have you seen Ken this morning?
I have not.
This is 24000511 GC Jefferson Capital versus Cooley Kennedy. Do you want your client out, Mr. Evanchik?
Oh, yeah, that'd be fine. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be nice. May I have your appearances, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Brian Truba appearing on behalf of the plaintiff, Jefferson Capital Systems. My P number is 61752.
John Ivanchek, on behalf of the defendant, P 66157. My client is here as well.
Thank you. Today is the day and time scheduled for pretrial. The parties have had the opportunity to speak. Mr. Truba, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, the parties have reached a resolution. We'd like to put on the record if the court's so inclined.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, the parties have agreed to a conditional dismissal. The defendant has agreed to pay the plaintiff a sum total of $1,583.08. He's going to make those payments and he's going to pay that sum in payments of $50 a month starting August 1st, 2024 and continuing until that sum is paid. Plaintiff will do a dismissal without prejudice today. When the defendant makes those payments, we're going to amend that dismissal to be a dismissal with prejudice. And as I explained to Mr. Evanchek, there won't be any interest on that sum of $1,583.08, so long as he's making those payments. And obviously, Your Honor, if he doesn't make those payments, the parties have agreed to the entry of a default judgment in the amount paid for in a complaint, less any payments he's made up to that point in time.
Was that your understanding, Mr. Evanchik?
It is our understanding, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I will note the file that those are the terms of the settlement. I will adjourn today's pretrial over to August 6th at 9:15. So long as you get the conditional dismissal signed, executed, and filed with the court, I will sign it. You will not need to reappear. Was there anything else on behalf of the plaintiff?
We're all set, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else on behalf of the defendant?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes this matter. Mr. Kennedy, you're free to go. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good morning, Your Honor.
You too, sir. Good to see you.
You too.
This is 224720 GC Westlake Services versus Hall. May I have your names for the record?
Yes, good morning, Judge. This is Natasha Dixon on behalf of the plaintiff. My P number is 82333.
Your name for the record, please.
My name is Alicia Hall.
Thank you. Today was a day and time scheduled for hearing on the defendant's motion for installment payments. The parties have had the opportunity to speak. How are we proceeding?
Judge, we are, the plaintiff is not objecting to Ms. Hall's motion. She wanted to pay $125 every 2 weeks. First payment due by August 1st of 2024. The plaintiff is fine with that, Judge. We are not objecting to it.
Is that amount still a good amount for you?
Yes, ma'am.
And August 1st as the start date?
Yes, ma'am.
Then the court will enter the order for installment payments in the amount requested by the defendant. I'll sign it and copies will be mailed out to the parties. Is there anything else, Ms. Dixit?
Yes, Judge, just a question. There is an active wage garnishment, Judge, so will that just kind of pause the wage garnishment at this point? There's an active wage garnishment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Has your
Then I have-
employer actually withheld anything from you?
Yes, ma'am, and I also do have another question pertaining to that as well. So
Yes.
the first wage garnishment was taken out of my paycheck last week of the amount of $162. Now, because I was inpatient for the VA for a couple months, so it had put me on backtrack of like rent and all my bills. So that's another reason why I wanted to lower the payment. The monthly payment also start on August 1st. Now, I spoke to my employer. They are aware of what's going on. But they said that they would need some type of like documents. And I was seeing, is there any way that I could get like something faxed to them? So then they can stop it immediately, because the next time I get paid for them is next week. And I just can't afford for them to take out like, another $162 out of that paycheck, because it's going towards rent.
Well, let me see. The clerk is on. Mr. Davis, I don't know if it's possible for us to fax it. Mr. Davis, in the case of Westlake versus Hall, I will be signing the order for installment payments, $125 per month, starting on August the 1st. If I get that order signed, are you able to fax it over to the employer or email
Yes.
it to Ms. Hall and she can do, okay.
Yeah, either way, Judge, we can either, if we have an email address for the garnishee, we can get that to them, or obviously Ms. Hall could get that to her. Either way.
Ms. Hall, let's do this. I'm gonna send you into a breakout room with Dan. You give him a good email address and he'll
Yes,
send it
ma'am.
to you, and then you can get it to your employer, but I will do it when I'm done with the morning docket. I'll get the order together and get it served on the parties.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Is there anything else, Ms. Dixon?
No, Judge, that's it. That is it for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Then you both have a good day.
Thank you, Judge, you too.
Thank you.
Judge, am I okay to leave, or do I?
Unless you just want to hang out,
Thank you.
take care.
You too, thank you.
Mr. Khan, are we ready?
Your Honor, we reached an agreement in a breakout room and we're working out a stipulated order. If the court would give us another 10 minutes or so, we'll go on the record with that stip and we'll be all set, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Ms. Hoffman, your case isn't until 10 o'clock. I don't typically call cases until 15 minutes after the hour unless you have some update from Mr. Upshaw.
I do not. I was just checking in 15 minutes early, but I guess I'm actually a little earlier than that.
Oh, I appreciate it, but we have a pretty slow docket today. There are only 2 or 3 more cases this morning.
So I'll check back in at 10 then.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Was there anything else you needed?
Oh, I didn't know if I was to end the call or not. So sorry.
No, if you gave Dan the information, you're free to go. You have a great day.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your help.
No worries.
Bye.
Your Honor, if I could be placed back in a breakout room with Mr. Igbowo, we can finish having this e-signed and then I'll file it and then we can come right back in front of the court.
Absolutely. Were you expecting the defendant to come right back out?
No, actually, if I could be placed back in with him one more time, we'll get it squared.
Oh, absolutely. No worries.
Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Your case is scheduled at 10 a.m. When the plaintiff's attorney arrives, we'll get you connected with each other, okay?
Okay. Good morning, Judge. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know what I forgot to tell you.
We're ready at the court's convenience, Your Honor.
Let's get, here we are. This is 2401434GC, Conrad Pulowski versus Emmanuel Igbogbo. Have your appearances, please.
Jacob Kahn, P 85-936 on behalf of plaintiff.
Emmanuel Igbala on behalf of myself.
Thank you. Today is the day and time scheduled for a hearing on the defendant's objections to the garnishment. The parties have had the opportunity to speak. Mr. Khan, how are we proceeding?
We just uploaded through the MyFile system a stipulated order for conditional dismissal. We'd like to place the terms on the record, which are very straightforward as follows, that this matter is conditionally dismissed without prejudice, subject to the defendant's employer, the garnishee, immediately releasing any withheld funds to plaintiff, care of plaintiff's counsel. By the end of July, defendant is to pay the difference of $1,100, less a credit of whatever the garnishee has provided. And the parties release each other from any future claims.
Was that your understanding, sir?
Yes, that is my understanding.
And you have both executed this document?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about these proceedings, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Then the court will await receipt of that signed document. Was there anything else on behalf of the plaintiff?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else on behalf of the defendant?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. I will await receipt of the order. Other than that, you're free to go. You have a great day.
You as well.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Hmm. Good morning, Mr. Upshaw.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Ms. Hoffman was here. She said she would check back. Let's see if she's still. When she returns, we'll get you connected.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Duquette and Ms. Hilliard, I'll ask you to go into a breakout room, have a conversation about this morning's proceedings. When you're done speaking, please come back to this main session.
Sure, thank you, Your Honor.
This is 224450 GC, Auto Club of Michigan versus Harris. May I have your appearances, please?
Hi, yes. Randall Upshaw will be representing me today.
He's here, ma'am. Your appearance, Ms. Hoffman? Ms. Hoffman? Your appearance, ma'am? Ms. Hoffman and Mr. Upshaw?
Yes.
I've called your case.
Oh, okay. I didn't have audio for a minute, but yes, on behalf of the plaintiff, Doreen Hoffman, P42231.
I see Mr. Upshaw is here. I'm just not getting a response from him.
We were put into a breakout room and then he wasn't there anymore. So I assumed he came back into the main room.
Do you need to go back into a breakout room, or did you actually have an opportunity to speak to each other?
No, I have not had a chance to speak to him, but I think he's going to be easily resolved in that we would suspend the garnishment and enter an order for installment payments as long as the garnishment is suspended and not released. I think the issue came where the defendant had missed 3 payments. We set aside the installment payment order and a judgment got entered. And she has been making payments.
So we're just gonna enter the original order of her continuing to pay $50 a month?
Well, not the original order, but a new installment payment order with the garnishment suspended. And it looks like she just made a $50 payment on June 3rd.
Yes.
Suspend the garnishment and set the payments at beginning when?
$50 a month. Do you want to go with the 3rd of every month since today is July 2nd? So tomorrow she'd make a payment.
Didn't she just make a payment yesterday?
I made a payment.
June 3rd. Unless she made one today, I don't know, but
Okay, so we will go with August
I made a
the 3rd.
payment last night.
She didn't make one in July.
I made a payment last night.
Oh, last night. Oh, it's not in our records yet.
Okay,
I
so
got a
condition
receipt,
upon her making that a payment last night because she told me she made one last night. Let's start August the 3rd.
Okay.
Ms. Hoffman, if you would have your office submit an order suspending the garnishment and resetting the payments at $50 per month beginning August 3rd, file it through my file on base, whatever you call it on your end. I will sign it and get it out to the parties.
All right, and just for clarification, we were told that Mr. Upshaw no longer represented Ms. Harris. I don't mind either way, but I just want to make sure that I'm including the right party on the order.
You can include me. I had finished the case, but once you filed this motion, I came back to be her attorney. So you
Okay.
can put my name on it.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Everyone
Anything
have
else,
a good.
Mr. Upshaw?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, sir. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Hoffman.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you.
This is 175145 GC. This is Redwood versus Hilliard. May I have your appearances, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Thomas Duquette, P82958 on behalf of the plaintiff.
And your name for the record, ma'am?
Hi, Your Honor. My name is Sade Hilliard.
Thank you. Today is the day and time scheduled for hearing on the defendant's motion to set aside the default judgment. The parties have had the opportunity to speak. Mr. Duquette, how are we proceeding?
There was no resolution, Your Honor. We'll have to proceed with the motion.
Thank you. Ma'am, please present your motion.
Hi, Your Honor. So as I was explaining to the attorney, I am a victim of identity theft. Over the last few years, I have been having to clean up a lot of different things that was put in my name. I just became familiar with this Redwood case as of a few weeks ago, literally the day that I filed for the motion. And it was because I was dealing with something else, and it made me look on all of the court sites to see if there was anything else I needed to clear up. I've never been a resident at Redwood. I've never lived there. I've never applied. And so then I wasn't served. The address that the attorney just explained to me that they have was not my address. So it says that I was served. I've never lived there to be served. So again, on my end, since then I have filed a police report. I do have a utility bill showing my address and where I was actually living and having utility. The lawyer did say that he saw that there was a payment history, and for me to explain that, which I can't, because I can't say, you know, what someone was doing. Maybe they couldn't get something in their own name. But for me, I've never lived there. I have proof that I've not lived there. And again, so my defense is that I'm a victim of identity theft. And so I knew nothing of this case to even defend against it until recently.
Anything else, ma'am?
Not at the time.
Mr. Duquette.
Your Honor, attached to the complaint is the lease agreement the defendant signed and initialed on every single page of the agreement. Going past that, there's also a ledger attached to the complaint, and that ledger shows more than 5 months worth of payments that went towards rent and utilities. Typically in fraud cases, there's no incentive for the perpetrator of the fraud to make payments on the account that they opened fraudulently. And I just don't see typical indicators that this lease was the product of fraud. It's signed, it's initialed, and there was almost a half year's worth of activity on the ledger that evidences that the defendant did live at the address. As for service of the summons and complaint, we comply with the court's order regarding alternate service. There's a good postal which indicates that there was no change of address on file for the defendant. And the summons and complaint were both mailed and tacked to the door in accordance with this court's order. For those reasons, I just don't see that there's a basis here for the court to set the default judgment aside, especially considering the fact that this motion's being brought 6 years after the fact. The court rules state that any such motion has to be brought within a reasonable time, and I just don't think this motion is within a reasonable time.
Anything else, Mr. Duquette?
No, that's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Hilliard?
Yes, I just wanted to speak to a couple things he said. In the breakout room, he told me that they have evidence of over 2 years of rental payments. And what he just said now is that they have 5 months of rental payments, which is a huge difference. And as well, I did speak to why I'm only just responding. It is a reasonable amount of time because I only just learned about it 3 weeks ago, and that was at my own, dealing with another court issue. So it is a reasonable amount of time. And with identity theft, there is no one way that people operate. People do whatever is best to them. So that's not evidence that it was me. Of course, signatures will be had and things like that. That's what happens when people, try to attempt to get credit in someone else's name. So I don't believe that any of that is sufficient enough to say that it was me when it wasn't. And I like I said, I do have evidence of where I've actually stayed during that time with utility, with lease, and things like that.
Ms. Hilliard, just a few questions. The court doesn't have the physical file from 2017, but in looking in the court's register of actions, it shows service on you by alternate service at an address on Belmont Drive in the city of Belleville. It says Belleville is the mailing address, but it could be a couple of different cities. Are you saying that you're not connected to that Belmont Drive address?
Correct, Your Honor.
You don't know anyone at that address?
No.
And Mr. Duquette indicated that there's a signed lease on the underlying complaint. You're saying you didn't sign a lease for anybody, maybe as a guarantor, or is it?
Correct, Your Honor. That I've never signed a lease for there or allowed or authorized anyone to do it on my behalf.
And you have a police report indicating ID theft or alleging ID theft?
Yes, I do.
As relates to just this case or something else?
This is that as well as other things, because like I said, there are quite a few accounts in my name, ranging from that time.
Mr. Duquette, is there anything else, sir?
Your Honor, I showed that alternate service was accomplished at an address in Canton, the address of the actual residence that the lease was for, 41527 Sanctuary Lane.
Mr. Duquette, this is what the court is going to do. Ms. Hilliard, we are well beyond the time allowed for you to file a motion to set aside default judgment. But because of the allegations you're making and the fact that looking in the file from the court's end, it does not appear that anything has happened that may have potentially put you on notice that this case was pending. And this court did not receive a response to your motion. What I will do, Mr. Duquette, is adjourn this matter over. There's no garnishment or anything pending that would be upset by this. My next civil date is August the 6th at 9:15 a.m. to allow for plaintiff to file a response and the defendant to provide a copy of residency at the time of service 2017 and the police report. And Mr. Duquette, please know I note that this is well beyond what's typically allowed for motion to set aside default judgment, but the court takes seriously the allegations of identity theft. And in looking in the case, since the judgment entered back in February of 2018, there's been no activity on the court file until this motion to set aside the default judgment was filed on June the 4th. There's been no tax garnishments, no motions from either party. The court's just concerned and does not court wants to be sure that everything is as it should be. But Ms. Hilliard, again, please understand that it is extraordinary that the court would even consider going beyond the 1 year to address this issue.
Yes, Your Honor. I do appreciate it.
Mr. Duquette, was there something else?
No, that's all, Your Honor.
Okay, I will see you back here on August the 6th at 9:15 a.m. back on Zoom in courtroom number 1. If there's nothing else, you're free to go. You have a great day.
Thank you, Your Honor. Likewise.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that concludes our docket for the morning. We will stand in recess until 1 p.m.